Welcome back to Gaming News with Spoons. Let's talk about a couple of Japanese games that are making their way overseas next year. The first one I want to talk about is called Zanki Zero New Beginnings. Zanki Zero is a new game being developed by the creators of the Danganronpa franchise. Now, for those of you who have not played the Danganronpa franchise, it is pretty over the top, outright hilarious, outright funny, super entertaining, and has some of the most memorable characters that I can think of in modern gaming. It's a very interesting visual novel style of game. I actually highly recommend playing it, as I have enjoyed playing the first one, and I'm working my way through the second one right now. But definitely worth a shot. So Zanki Zero definitely caught my attention, and from what I've seen, it definitely appears to have that Danganronpa sort of charm to it. Now, what the presence of this game is it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where 8 clones are kind of stuck in this cycle where they are born, they age, and they die, and the cycle keeps repeating over and over. Apparently, they're supposed to learn about their past sins and kind of atone for them, and obviously, the story isn't going to reveal what those are, because that's going to be something you're just going to have to play the game to find out. But what makes this game even more interesting is some of the gameplay mechanics that they're actually talking about. Now, as I said, you play as 8 clones who are born, age, and die, and you see this cycle throughout the game. Apparently, there's 13 days or something like that, where after those 13 days, your characters kind of die. Of course, you kind of have to, keep them alive as well. You fight enemies through there. Now, according to what's even more interesting is, according to his articles, have been saying that the characters' abilities will change depending on how old they are. So there might be kind of various different ways to go about approaching these situations. This very much does look like it's going to end up being somewhat of a dungeon crawler in of itself. It does look like it is taking more of a first-person approach, kind of more like a lot of the, Phantasy Star and the early Shin Megami Tensei games did, and going for that style as of well. So if that's a big turnoff to you, then I guess, that might be something to consider. But nonetheless, I am pretty excited to get my hands on this game, and it does sound like that is coming in spring of 2019, so we have that to look forward to. Now, the next game we'll want to talk about is a game that we have actually already seen a release to, but this is supposed to be an enhanced remake, and this is the Caligula Effect Overdose. Now, the Caligula Effect was released, I want to say, last year on the PlayStation Vita, and it was an alright game for mine. It was a game I didn't play because I heard immediately after that they were working on bringing it over to the PlayStation 4 anyways, so I figured I'd pick it up there. Due to money hindrances and things like that, I also never picked it up as well. But I figured once the PlayStation 4 version was released that I'd hold off and just pick that one up. Now, so the sounds of this, it sounds like these characters are in a virtual reality world where people kind of like live out a fantasy life of a high school student, and there's these group of high school students that figure out that they are a part of this program and kind of end up weighing up to rebel against it. Of course, then there's the whole enemies who consider them traitors to the cause, and that's kind of what they're fighting against. The story premise actually sounds really interesting, and I'm hoping that, they're able to expand on this, because it does sound like they're going to allow more character interactions. For one, I know that was kind of something that was really hindered by the one on the PlayStation Vita. It sounds like also we're going to end up being able to have a lot more story content presented at us at this time, and I think this is awesome. Longtime Persona fans, this might be a game that you actually may want to pay attention to, because Tadashi Satomi, if that name rings a bell among Persona fans, you may recognize him as the person who wrote the scripts for the original Persona, Persona 2, as well as its sequel, Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, and he's the one working on the script. They also have longtime Shin Megami Tensei music composer returning to compose a soundtrack for this game. So there are a couple of prominent people from Atlas and some of their respective series that they've worked on that are bringing their expertise to this game. So this may be a game that you want to pay attention to, especially if they're able to work out some of the kinks and make this a better version of the game. This is coming early 2019, so there is that to look forward to as well. Now, you know I like the quirky Japanese thing, so I will probably end up picking these games up at some point next year and giving these games a shot. But I'm curious to hear, are you guys all interested in picking up Zanki Zero? Are you at all interested in picking up the Caligula Effect? Were you one of the people out there who picked up the Caligula Effect on the PlayStation Vita, and what did you think? What changes do you think they need to make to the PlayStation 4 version to make this a better game? Leave those down below in the comment box. Hit subscribe there for me if you haven't already. Check out my latest videos as well. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Links are going to be down below in that description box. And most importantly, stay happy, be happy, game happy. Spoons is checking out.